Hey, Jordan here, coming to you from Jerome, Arizona, one of my favorite spots in the world. I'm really excited about being able to spend a few minutes with you. I want to talk about fear. It's probably the number one thing that holds people back from building a successful business. The fear of picking up the phone and making a phone call, or let's say you've recently met somebody and now you know you want to give them a call, and the reality sets in that you're going to be picking up the phone and calling them and asking them to take a look at your business. Or maybe just set an appointment, or maybe you have an appointment and you're going to be sitting down with somebody and you're afraid of actually presenting the business because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You don't know whether they're going to be interested, or whether they're going to laugh at you, or whether they're going to tell you it's a dumb idea. All those crazy things that we imagine are going to happen when we show the business. Maybe it's the first time you're going to be getting up in front of a room and speaking to 10 people or 50 people or even 10,000 people. We all have those fears. In fact, I don't think there's a single human being on the earth that has no fear. We can lie to ourselves and say, try and trick our minds into believing that we don't have fear. But in reality, I don't care how successful you are, there's certain things that kind of freak you out a little bit. And I came up with a couple of different strategies. One of them is a result of a sport that I took up in the 90s. You've probably heard that I used to do hang gliding. I did that for about 7 years. So you run off a mountain with Dacron and Kevlar strapped to your back, and I don't care how you frame it, it's kind of a freaky thing to run off a mountain without a motor. I mean, it's just, out in the open. I mean, so there's a couple of things that I came up with that can help you kind of work your way through whatever fears you're dealing with, because I really do believe the number one thing that stands in the way of you getting what you want in the business is that thing called fear that we all experience. And the difference between those people that have achieved big success in our business and those people that are constantly struggling and constantly thinking about and deliberating on and wondering if, all those things that keep you from moving ahead in your business, it usually, when you distill it down, comes down to one thing, and that is fear. So what do you do with that? Again, you're not going to escape it. Everyone experiences it. No matter what level you are in the business, it's built into the human condition to have fear. So there's two things. These are the two things that I use in confronting my fears, handling them, whatever you want to call it. One is reframing and refocus, and the second is disassociating. So let's talk about reframing and refocusing. So what that means is it's taking your attention off the thing that's freaking you out and putting your attention on the thing that you want, or the thing that you're really intending to create in your life. So when you can make your dreams more important than your fears, like focusing your attention on why you're doing it. There are a lot of days that I don't feel like going into the helicopter school, and there's some new maneuver that I'm going to be working on that kind of freaks me out a little bit. But if I can refocus my attention or reframe it to begin to really look at what's the result that I want. I want to be able to get in the helicopter when my friends come to town and my business partners in my business come to town. I want to be able to ask them to jump in the helicopter, and we give them a little tour of the strip, and maybe we can take a ride out into the country and land on a pinnacle. And I want to be able to experience that with my friends and help to expand their dreams. Well, when I focus on that, it makes it a little easier for me to get in my truck and head down to the helicopter school and handle the maneuvers that are kind of freaking me out. So whatever it is you're thinking about, whatever you're focused on when you're getting ready to pick up that phone, whatever you're focusing on at that moment, try and refocus or reframe it and really put your mind's energy into the things that are exciting to you. And that will allow you to make the move. All right, the second thing that I like to do is to disassociate. In other words, I'm going to disengage my brain from my body, or disengage my thinking from my action just for a moment, just long enough to get started. Usually what I find out is once I start, it's not that bad. In fact, anytime you've ever overcome or worked through a fear, didn't you notice that the things that were going on in your mind weren't they weren't real? I mean, usually we make them way bigger and way more meaningful than they actually are. Those negative feelings that cause us to freeze up and cause us from taking action. So when I used to run off the mountain in the hang glider, because it was just not a logical thing to do, after getting many hours of training, going from that 450-foot mountain to the 9,000-foot mountain where the landing zone was 5 miles away, the idea of running off the mountain for the first time and the second time and the third time was a little bit crazy. So what I had to do is, for a few moments, I had to disengage myself from myself. And it's just like when you're sitting down to show the business to somebody, you're not really sure what they're, there's that area of uncertainty. You're not sure what they're going to say. You're not sure how they're going to act or what feelings they're going to have about it. But if you can disassociate yourself from the action, the activity, and just do the activity with some passion and with some enthusiasm and not be concerned. In other words, completely disengage from the outcome, completely disengage from those thoughts. So when I used to run off the mountain, I would let go for a few moments. I would let go of my thinking, my brain, my active brain. I would let go of it and just do it. And as soon as I would step off that mountain, I would experience the joy of flying and the wind in my face. And I would say to myself, why did I let that fear, that gripping fear, keep me from experiencing this unbelievable feeling? And that's what will happen in your business. When you can reframe and refocus, focus your attention on the things that you want, and then learn to disassociate yourself from yourself. In other words, disassociate your thinking from your action and just take action without the thinking. You've done the preparation. We already know how to build the business. The problem is you don't know how. I mean, we go to training after training. I did it for years, 11 years, never signed up a single distributor. After going to probably hundreds of trainings, I knew how to do the business, but it was my fear from taking those steps, taking those action steps every day. You know what happens too when you do it on a regular basis, when you do it over and over and over again? In the beginning, it's out of your comfort zone, but after you've done it for a while, it gets to be in your comfort zone, and you find out it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be. And I can remember being backstage. The very first time I was going to be speaking in front of a group over 100 people. I went from 100 people to over 14,000 people, and I remember being freaked out for 2 weeks. I remember being backstage, physically sick to my stomach. And then when I walked out on stage, everything changed. And you know what? All those imaginary fears that came up, those thoughts and those conversations that I had with myself about, what if they laugh at me? What if I forget what I'm going to say once I get out on stage? I had to disassociate. I had to completely disassociate my brain from my body and then step out on stage and have faith that things are going to work out. And you know what? They always do. Things always work out. In fact, for you to experience the joy and the triumph of success in this business, you will need to face your fears. And when I say face your fears, I don't mean overcome them. I don't mean like somehow have them melt away, because they won't. But what I do mean is to step into the fear and take action regardless. And whether it means to refocus and reframe or disassociate yourself for just a few moments, just long enough to get through it, and to take that step, you're going to find out it's not as bad as you thought it was. And then you'll be able to really experience the joy of success in this business. Thanks. This is Jordan. We'll see you on the beach.